per week and regrets that he wasn't more precise. He goes on to say, quote, "Of course, for anyone with symptoms or who might have been exposed, they can be tested daily with extra tests provided."
The governor's office says Colorado is currently offering tests to teachers through COVID Check. Those results come back within 72 hours. Also today, the state started shipping rapid tests directly to teachers' homes so they can get 6 per month if the school district opts in.
Today, frontline workers at Denver Health raised concerns to hospital board members about employee intimidation and racism in the workplace.
As Denver7 CB Cotton reports tonight, a formal complaint was filed in November, and while that works its way through the legal process, workers are not shying away from sharing the problems they're facing.
Your current executive leadership demonstrates a lack of fairness and credibility to solve the serious problems they themselves created. They blew opportunities by intimidating and retaliating against Denver Health employees who have tried to speak out.
Those are just some of the allegations against Denver Health shared by union members during the public comment portion of Denver Health's Thursday hospital board meeting. The allegations from 4 union members that are also employees at Denver hospitals, including Denver Health.
I've been at Denver Health for 20 years. I'm an emergency physician.
Dr. Katie Bakes is also a union member. Late last year, she was one of 4 Denver Health employees listed on a whistleblower complaint filed by the nonprofit Towards Justice. The complaint alleges the medical center retaliated against them for sharing concerns about systemic racism and COVID-19 safety.
When push comes to shove, people don't feel comfortable speaking. They feel that if they do speak up, they'll be retaliated against. Those in authority are allowed to conduct themselves in very egregious, unprofessional ways, whereas those on the lower end of the totem pole are treated very harshly.
That alleged culture of fear is what Bakes spoke about during Thursday's board meeting, and others shared personal stories too.
I witnessed tension, intentional targeting, unfair treatment, and prevention of advancement of Black and Latino staff.
The retreat from a commitment to equity under the current administration is glaring.
After the public comment portion, the board unveiled plans for a 3-year equity blueprint. And a statement to Denver7, Denver Health says the blueprint will, quote, include recommendations around internal and external policies, clinical practices, and relationships with our communities.
There's a lot of people coming out, and they're not going to stop. I am hopeful that, they'll see what their employees are telling them.
In a statement to us, Denver Health says it's difficult for their leadership to hear these claims of systemic racism, pay inequities, and retaliation. They also say it goes against what their institution stands for, and they're going to work to combat these issues. We've got their full statement over on our website, thedenverchannel.com. For Denver7, I'm CB Cotton.
It's been a few months now since Colorado launched its COVID-19 exposure notification system. It sends an alert to your cell phone if you come into contact with somebody who's tested positive. But some people find that app confusing. If you go to exposure checks in the menu, you'll find something called matched key count. A 0 is good news, but some people felt a little panicked when they saw a 1, a 2, even a 7 pop up. State health staff say there's a simple explanation.
A matched key indicates that your phone has detected an encounter with a person with a positive test result, but that encounter was not long enough or close enough to be considered an exposure.
To trigger the alert, you have to have been within 6 feet of someone who tested positive for at least 15 minutes. And one other note here, the system may not send you alerts in real time. The app has to sync up with other data online first, and that can take an hour or 2.
Some big names are giving a big thanks to an 11-year-old Broomfield girl. Allie Tumblin inspired new legislation requiring insurance companies to cover specialized hearing aids and cochlear implants.
Now, Allie was born without a right ear or hearing canal, and it requires a BAHA, that's a bone-anchored hearing aid, to hear. And when her insurance denied coverage for that BAHA, she wrote to Congressman Joe Neguse explaining the situation. He then drafted legislation, and he called it Allie's Act.
Along with Representative Neguse, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is sponsoring an identical bill in the Senate.
Well, I can't always hear good without my Baja, and other kids like me have trouble hearing too. So I wanted to ask for help because not everyone who needs a Baja can get one to hear better.
We need everyone to have access to the devices that make them hear. And that's why we're here, and that's why the congressman and I are working on this.
It's clear that the only way we're going to ultimately change this is changing the law. And I'm glad that Allie and Melissa, that you both have inspired us to take a stab at that.
How can you say no to her? Well, both of those bills were introduced last year and have since been forwarded to congressional committees for review.
Coming up on Denver7 News at 10. A sweet pup facing huge challenges.
This particular dog is a really shining example of how you can overcome obstacles and still be a shining beacon of hope.
How your generosity is making sure Missy gets the best shot at a happy, healthy life.
Temperatures bounce back today, even warmer tomorrow, but then our next chance for snow.